Hello?
Hi, how old are you?
21.
All right.
Hey, so how can you tell me God isn't imaginary? And what does go vegan have to do with anything? And I don't see a problem with meat because our ancestors ate meat back in the day.
Yeah, so these are just different topics. But when it comes to eating meat, because our ancestors did it, that doesn't make it okay. Because our ancestors also were cannibals, some of them. Our ancestors were terrible people sometimes. Just because our ancestors did something in the past doesn't make it okay today. Because we have choices today. We have better options than to harm other innocent beings. That's why it's wrong to consume animal products.
So is that what you think our ancestors ate back in the day?
I don't care what our ancestors ate. We are not our ancestors anymore. We're not cavemen anymore, right?
So we're meant to be vegetarians? I mean, vegans?
We're not meant to do anything. What I'm saying is, what you are doing is wrong. You're harming and abusing animals by the billions every year, and we're saying that's wrong, right? Because it's not needed.
But it's okay. We need meat in our diets. We need the vitamins.
Nope,
We
there
need
are no
the nutrients,
vitamins.
the micronutrients that meat carries. Is very vital for
You
the human.
can, so, can you name me a single nutrient that I must get from meat that I cannot get from plants?
The fatty acids.
All plants have fatty acids.
Not as rich as meat.
Well, I can get plenty of fatty plant-based foods: beans, nuts, seeds,
Are you sure
avocados.
those are fatty acids? Besides
Yes,
avocados, the
yes. They all have omegas in them: omega threes, omega sixes.
which vegetable or fruit has iron in it?
Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and beans all have iron in them as well.
Calcium.
Oranges, beans, greens, they all have all
So
the
you're saying you
nutrients.
can get your daily macronutrients for being vegan, correct?
Correct.
Is it possible to build muscle while being vegan?
Of course, you can be a vegan bodybuilder.
Do we have vegan bodybuilders?
Yes, they're out there, sir.
You
Torres
sure they're not taking
Washington.
steroids while being vegan?
Well, no, you don't have to take steroids, sir. There are plenty of meat eaters who take steroids, though. Does that make them impossible to be muscular as a meat eater? No. You you can still be strong and healthy as a vegan. Period.
So if you're stranded in the desert with no crops, you cannot grow vegetables or fruits, and all you see around you is animals. You got do what you got to do to survive, right?
Right, but I'm not stranded on an island right now. Right, I have
A
options right
desert,
now.
not island. You can be in,
Whatever. I'm not stranded right now. I have options. So when you have options, you should choose the best option. Do you agree?
yeah,
Okay, great. So what's the best option? To slaughter and abuse an innocent being or eat a cucumber?
eat a cucumber.
There you go. That's why I'm vegan.
But I understand where you're coming through, but not a lot of people care.
That's not, I don't care about that. I don't care if you don't care. What I'm saying is, if you want to be consistent, if you want to be ethical, go vegan. That's
All
all.
right. So
I can't stop
besides the
anybody.
vegan, we're going to talk about God, and then why you say God is imaginary? Like,
There's no evidence of God.
but don't you see what's all around you? Like, there has to be a creator, right? Well, besides you at looking foolish, I
Well,
mean,
what
but
am I looking at? Where's the evidence that God did this?
but are you like agnostic atheist or just atheist?
It doesn't matter. I'm an atheist. I just don't believe in God. What is your evidence of God?
He's just a higher power that he allows us to be free and make our own decisions, and then when we die, we go
Where's
to
your
heaven or
evidence of
hell.
this thing? Where's your evidence of that thing?
It's not about evidence; it's faith.
Well, faith is useless when it comes to truth. Because I don't care if I can believe in God blindly without any evidence. Anybody can do that. The toddler can do that. but I want the
But,
truth. I want to know
but,
because
but do you believe in Satanism?
no, I don't.
So you don't think anything exists when you die? You think you just be faded away before you're born?
When you die, your body rots away. Everybody forgets you, and you're erased from existence. Nobody cares when you die.
So were you
Nobody
raised
cares
Christian when
about
you were
you.
younger?
What?
Were you raised Christian when you were younger?
Yeah.
Were you a meat eater when you were younger?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just wanted to change? Is it because you
I
got influenced by
changed
other
because I
people,
learned.
or
Look, I changed because I learned. I asked better questions. I got out of my comfort zone and I learned the other sides. There are other ways and perspectives to see the world. So I align myself with what is the most factual thing. And to me, harming animals is wrong. That's easy to know. It's also easy to know that there's no reason to believe in God. There's no such thing as talking donkeys and snakes and Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark. That shit never happened. And that's why there's no good reason for God.
kind of see where you're coming from? So you just like you're woke or something? Is that what you're all about? Like you just wake up to
No,
reality and
I'm
just
just educated, right? I'm educated. That's all.
all right. I respect your opinion, and I'm just gonna and yeah, you can move on to the next guy. Love you.
I love how confused people get when they come up here. Ooh, you're
Yeah,
atheist?
he
You're...
accepted it.
Oh my God, my head's gonna explode. Hey, how are you?
Yo, I just have a question.
Yeah,
So, if God is imaginary, who cares if we're vegan or not? Who cares if we're killing animals? Doesn't make sense.
I care. The other people care. Animals care, right? If I smacked a dog in the face, uh, the dog cares, right?
Yeah.
Right. People who are being harmed don't want to be harmed, right? So, regardless of whether or not there's a God, I have impulse control, I have guilt, I feel empathy, and using those tools, I don't need God. I do it myself. I do it on my own. And that's why I have morality without God, because I have the tools required to make choices that lead to better circumstances.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, like the animals are different. Like especially like a cow or something like that, who are not as smart as a dog or something. Like if God isn't real, then how do we even know they feel empathy and all that stuff? And what's the difference if we kill them? Because they have no. If you think God is not real, then they have no soul or anything. There's no future for them after they die. So what's the point of keeping them? They're not like humans where they're gonna make a world a better
Yeah.
place.
So do you think, why do you think it's wrong to kill people?
Because they have like they're more advanced, like they're emotionally, intellectually, like all they're just more advanced than an animal like a cow or a chicken and stuff. And I think
Okay.
that's why most people
Okay.
draw the
So,
line.
okay. So if there's a person who's not as advanced, who is mentally disabled, does that mean we get to unalive those people?
You're right.
See why this leads you down a bad way,
Yeah.
a bad avenue. Okay. So to me, it doesn't matter how intelligent somebody is, I still will not harm you, and that's why I'm vegan.
True. I see where you're coming from. Thank you. All right, thank you, bro.
Hello?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you. Let's start with evolution. When you say evolution is a fact, do you mean just like how a virus can evolve to, not be susceptible to a vaccine, or are you saying speciation is a fact, that a new species can
Well,
emerge from a
adaptation
previous
is
one?
a form of evolution. It refers to genetic changes. But yes, on the macro level, we see speciation occur. But on the micro level, we see adaptations. But the point is that they both entail evolution, and evolution is a fact. Period. we can observe these things happen.
Well, sure. I guess I can concede that evolution on a micro scale is a fact, but I guess my question would be, we've never seen an example of mutations accumulated to like on a somatic level go to the gametes and get passed down to progeny. So how, like in what mechanism would you imagine that evolution works towards
So
speciation?
you're saying you don't think speciation occurs?
I do not see any evidence for speciation.
Okay,
No.
and what do you think speciation means?
Just the emergence of a new species that is like completely distinct, whether you want to talk about, just like a genus classification or genetic classification, however you want to do it.
So when we look at the fossil record and we see this, we see a series of species through the fossil record. That's not evidence for speciation to you?
It's evidence for speciation, but I don't see how the forces of evolution can result in it.
Oh, okay, so there is evidence for speciation.
Well, there's evidence that new species come into existence, yes.
Right. So there's evidence of speciation through the fossil record. We also have microbiology. For example, Richard Linsky with his 1990s experiment with E. coli, he took a population of E. coli in a lab, and he separated them. He added certain magnesium citrates to certain populations, and he saw them evolve into new species over 60,000 generations, which is about 20 years, 20, 30 years. So Richard Linsky has actually documented speciation in a lab setting, and there's plenty of research on that, on his experiment. Would you say that's evidence as well for speciation?
No, I think that's what I would say is microevolution, because once again, it wasn't.
But it's a new species. But it's a new species of E. coli.
Yeah. You just defined E. coli, right? That's the species. How is it a new species if you just named the species? Then what is E. coli?
It's a new species. It's a new species of E. coli.
Can we have a new species of Homo sapiens?
What?
Can we have a new species of Homo sapiens?
Well, sapiens is a species, but yes, you can have a new human species emerge from us. Just like we stem from Homo habilis and all the other species of the past. We also have, if you're talking about human evolution, we have chromosome 2, which is a fantastic example of speciation from our earliest ape ancestors about 6 million years ago. That's a prime example of human speciation.
Gotcha. Yeah, for the idea of speciation, usually like the evidence that I feel is most convincing is have you ever heard someone present the evidence of mitochondrial DNA?
Yeah. Now, do you agree with me that speciation occurs through evolution or not?
I've never been convinced that it occurs through evolution.
Oh, okay. So
I agree
the fossil record doesn't convince you. So what about the lab experiment I just gave to you doesn't convince you? What about that experiment?
It doesn't convince me. I guess I still do not see an avenue for the formation of like multicellular organisms from single cells.
No. What about that experiment where Richard Linsky observed speciation in a lab setting? What about that experiment do you think is invalid? Can you critique that experiment, or do you have to read it over when you come back later?
I'll have to read it over. Yeah.
Good. Great. Read it over. Come back to me. We can debate about it. Okay.
Sure.
Keep tapping. Keep commenting. If you're an evolutionist, you believe in preservation of... No, I don't believe that nonsense. I don't believe in race. Race is a social construct.
Hey, hello?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. I don't think that everyone should be vegan.
Okay, why do you think we ought to abuse and harm innocent animals?
It's not that. It's just about the diet. I take the position that having a diet where you're eating meat, it makes you feel much better. And my experience and all my friends' experiences
So
and a bunch of
look, I
people
understand you have
online.
experience. Look, you can have
Uh-huh.
experiences about, with cocaine. Oh, cocaine makes me feel better, but that doesn't
Well,
make
no,
it
that's
morally
objectively
better.
bad.
That's not
No.
good evidence, sir. Saying I felt better about this thing
Well,
isn't evidence to me.
red meat is objectively good for your mental health, actually.
No, red meat is
Yeah.
objectively
Physical.
red meat raises risk of cancer, arthritis, and
No,
diabetes.
only in large quantities. Just like how if you eat a lot of beans,
No,
it's also bad for you. A lot of
even in usual amounts, it can raise your risk of heart disease
no,
and
that's
cancer.
absolutely not true.
Well, we have plenty of studies to show this, sir. But
Well, there's plenty of studies that show that red meat is good for you.
hold on. We have to go back to the ethical side here.
No, I'm not taking
Because-
an ethical stance on it.
Oh, okay, well then you can't debate this with me because it's an ethical debate. We're not talking about nutrition.
All right. Well, even ethically, yeah, something wrong with it.
Because beans, look, if eating human meat made you healthier, would you think it's morally okay to kill and harm and abuse people to eat their body parts?
Well, we do eat each other.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you if eating human meat made you healthier by a little bit, would that be okay
Yeah.
to kill and abuse and harm and farm people to death for their
Yeah.
meat?
Did you know that when you eat a girl out, you actually get a little bit of protein?
Yep, so we have a non-serious interlocutor.
Yo, bro,
Yeah.
you're vegan, right? Nigga.
Yo,
Hi, how old are you?
free R. Kelly.
Yeah, so red meat raises a risk of heart disease, cancer, arthritis, and lots of studies show that vegan diets are way healthier for you, especially in the long term. Vegan diets lower your risk of heart disease and cancer. It also lowers your risk of arthritis to be vegan. So very much healthier to be vegan for sure. So that's why his argument was false in both ways, right? It's ethically wrong to kill and harm other beings, and it's also nutritionally wrong to do that because there's nothing in meat that you can't get from plant-based foods. So that's why in both ways, that argument's bad.
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, what do you got?
So I'll say this, like I am a Christian. I believe in the faith as it is, but I actually agree with your bottom 3 points. I think that veganism is morally correct.
Hey, so do you have evidence for God?
So I will say this, I don't really think, I grew up a fundamentalist, right? So I studied Aquinas's 5 proofs. I studied the Kalam argument, all of that. I don't really believe it. I actually had a phase where I became an atheist because I looked at it and I was like,
Okay,
all
so
of these-
what are your reasons now for believing in God?
So honestly, I believe in God, and it's not the best argument, but it's the one that makes the most sense to me, is the resurrection of Jesus, and that's where my faith comes in. I will also say that I believe in the idea that all of humanity sort of has the divine essence within it.
Look, I understand that, but I'm looking for evidence of this resurrection nonsense, right? Where's your evidence for the resurrection? Somebody that floats away from the dead to the skies. Where's your evidence of that?
Honestly, I don't have the evidence up in front of me. I was on a live yesterday. I had sources up for something else, but
Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So the next victim?
What's going on?
Here we go.
What do God and being vegan have to do with each other?
Yeah, so these are different topics, right? I'm not saying that they have to go with each other. Do you have an argument for these topics or not?
You know how many like nutrients are in a ribeye steak?
Not as many as there are in vegetables and fruits. Vegetables and fruits are very nutrient dense. And red
But can you
meat's
name me
full of-
like one that
red
has
meat
as
is full
many
of
as a
fat
ribeye?
that makes you fatter. It's full
Fat
of
is good for you.
it's not in the quantities that you're found in meat. They make you obese and fat. That also contain heme iron, which is also toxic to the gut. Meat also raises risk of cancer, colon cancer, through certain metabolites in them that are produced in your body when your body synthesizes the
Are
proteins.
you sure it's meat or is it
So
just
I'm
processed
sorry, sir,
food?
but you're not going to make a nutrient aspect argument here. We have to talk about the ethics. So, what do you think gives you the right to
Wait,
slaughter
but
and abuse
you know that
innocent
China,
beings?
China as a country eats the most meat in the whole world, and they also have the longest life expectancy in the whole world.
You're talking about Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is one of the richest places in the world. And so the longevity aspect is not linked to meat. It's linked to healthcare, which is
They
very,
also
very
have
good
way
in
less
Hong Kong.
processed foods that
And
America is full of.
that explains it way better than, oh, they eat meat. Because I can look at America. We eat tons of meat here.
Yeah, look
and
at
we're
America.
all
We also
and
eat tons of
half of Americans are
processed food that have no really.
no. America eats a lot of meat and chicken, which raises your risk of obesity and heart disease, which are the
Meat and
leading
chicken.
causes of death in America, right?
Meat and chicken raise your risk
So
for
I'm sorry,
obesity.
sir, but if anything, meat is linked to lower life expectancy.
That is not true at all. If I'm show me one source.
Then provide evidence that you're right, and then show me why it's ethically okay to harm and slaughter innocent animals.
Okay, forget. I'm not talking about ethically right now. I'm talking about the nutrition aspect.
Then this is an ethical
Can I
debate.
talk for a second, or are you the only one that's allowed to talk?
This is an ethical debate. Do you understand
Okay,
what that
we can
means?
get into that in 1 second. But you do know that America eats the most processed food and bullshit out of any country, right?
I don't care.
You don't think that has any
red meat, unprocessed meat, still is bad for you.
Why? I know it is in large quantities.
There is just a recent study a few days ago showing that red meat contains certain amino acids in them that when your body processes them, it produces metabolites that destroy the gut lining, which can cause colon cancer.
Have you ever seen a video of anyone going on a carnivore diet?
Yes, and they go off of it. It's a fad. It's not a healthy diet at all.
You said that meat makes you obese, and all the videos that I've seen, they all lost weight.
Meat can raise your risk of obesity. I'm not saying meat necessarily makes you obese. It raises your risk of it.
How
So I'm
so?
asking you for the last time, what justifies slaughtering animals in factories?
They taste good. There's a lot of benefits to eating it, and
Okay.
it's just a thing that society's been doing
So you
for
think
centuries.
taste justifies killing somebody?
I listed much more than just taste.
No, let's do one by one, right? So
I
you
know
said
this
taste.
argument.
You
So
said
hypothetically, if a human tasted good, would it be okay to kill them to eat them? No, that's cannibalism. That's a whole different thing.
okay. Why? Okay. So why is eating a person wrong, but eating an animal okay?
Because we're humans and we have something called sympathy and empathy towards each other, and we have the ability to talk to each other and understand each other in a way that we can with animals.
Okay, so it's okay for me. So we can only have this to humans, right? So you think it's okay for me to go up to a dog and kick it in its face? That's okay?
No.
Oh, but I thought you said that you can do that to animals. You can kill and harm animals because they don't have all these things that we do, like empathy.
But we don't have feelings towards the animals that we eat the same way that we do towards dogs.
Oh, so because you don't feel like it, you feel like it's okay to kill a dog, to kick a cow in his face, or to kill a cow, then that's okay because you feel like it. Is this your argument?
I mean, there's no way to make it sound good when
This
you put
doesn't
it
make
like
any
that.
sense.
Like, what do you
This
want
doesn't
me to
make
say to
any
that?
sense.
People
You're
have been
saying,
eating meat for
are you saying
thousands
that the
of years.
animal makes you feel better, the dog versus the cow? Is that what you're saying?
What? I think
Sir,
eating a cow is way better than eating a dog.
You have to track. You have to track with me here, right? You have justified killing cows because you. What did you say? That you feel like you can harm them because you don't have the same feelings you have towards dogs, right?
Feelings and relationship, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying you can't have a relationship with a cow.
I'm saying I never said that, and I don't think that it would be cool to kill someone's pet cow and eat it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's wrong to kill pet cows, but cows that are not pets. Hold on. It's wrong to kill a pet cow, but it's okay to kill a cow that's not a pet, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to dogs, the same applies. It's okay to kill non-pet dogs, but it's wrong to kill pet dogs, right?
Well, some people kill fucking dogs and eat them. I personally think that's disgusting.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you a simple question. Are you okay with killing non-pet dogs, stray dogs?
Well,
okay to kick them in the face and kill them?
In the culture that I've been raised in, no. And the culture that America follows, no.
Oh, but they're not pets. So it's not the pet thing that matters, is it?
I mean, in some countries, that's a normal thing that people do.
I'm not talking about other countries. I'm talking about you. In your view, is it wrong to kill stray dogs? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the pet thing is nonsense. That cancels out.
All right. The pet thing is not valid, then, I guess.
Right,
All right.
Exactly.
Let me think of another point. Let me think of another point of why we can eat cows and not dogs. How long have you been vegan for?
6 years.
So before that, you were eating animals?
Yes.
And what's your explanation for that?
I learned. I got educated.
What'd you learn?
I learned that harming animals is wrong, and we do it all the time to cows. They don't deserve to be harmed. That's it.
Why don't they deserve to be killed for food?
Because there's no difference. There's no difference between dogs and cows and pigs that would justify harming one and not the other.
What about fish?
Fish as well. Fish are also sentient. They have feelings.
All right,
and
wait. What
thoughts.
about so vegans eat plants? Plants are live things, right?
They're alive, but they're not sentient. They don't have feelings or thoughts or brains.
So as long as it doesn't feel pain when it dies, what's wrong with that?
Well, first of all, it's not just about the pain, but that's one of the big reasons. But in order to, if you're going to say, oh, let me just kill a cow quickly, is this what you're going to say? You shoot in the head?
No, I would.
Without pain?
I don't think shooting in the head is very humane, but I think some of them.
How do you humanely kill a cow?
I think slicing his head off really fast. I'm pretty sure that's how.
Humane. That's humane to you. That you know what humane means? It means with compassion.
Well, I feel like that would be the least painful way, though, which is the most important part.
Yeah. So let's just say doing that causes them no pain. Well, you're still killing somebody who didn't have to die, right? You're still killing the cow who didn't have to die. That was somebody's life. That was somebody who had experience.
What value does a cow bring to us besides its milk and food?
What value does a baby give to us besides its crying and shitting its pants?
It comes from us, and it's something we have a real relationship, and we raise it into an adult human that has a whole life and works and does stuff that actually matters to like the country and the world.
But what if this baby is disabled and it can never contribute to society? Would it be okay to kill that baby and eat that baby?
No, that's disgusting.
Why not? Why is it wrong?
Because we're not cannibals.
Why is it wrong to be a cannibal?
That's just disgusting. And it's illegal.
Well, we're not talking about legality, sir. We're talking about ethics. Why is it morally wrong to eat a baby who doesn't provide any value to a society?
I think it does. It does.
What value does a baby bring us that a cow cannot?
Love and raising it.
Cows can do love, can have love, and be loving.
All right, bro. Like, are you seriously comparing a baby human to a cow? Like, come on.
What's the difference? Morally speaking, what's the difference?
The difference is it came from a human, and we have real like feelings towards each other. I don't know what the word is. I'm not very like scientific.
You're
But
saying because it's a human, therefore it's automatically worthy of moral consideration. But if it's born any other species, kill it.
I never said that.
Okay,
But
so then what are you saying? Why do you
I
get
think
to
that
kill
there's
a
a,
cow? Why
I
do you
think
get to
there's a
kill a
moral
cow
difference.
but not a baby?
I think there's definitely a moral difference between killing a cow and a baby.
I understand there's a difference in terms of the degree of wrongness, but I'm talking about to in what is indexed to what is sufficient in terms of considering these two beings, right? What's the morally relevant difference that would justify killing an animal over the baby?
We're killing the animal to eat it.
I understand that, but why would that be okay? Why would it be wrong to kill the baby but not the animal? What's the difference between those two animals?
One of them is one to us, and one of them is food to us.
I know that. I'm asking
That's
you
the
why
difference.
is it
That's my
wrong?
answer to
Why
your
is it
question.
why is it okay? Why does it
That's
being
why.
designated as food make it okay to kill?
That's just how humans work. I don't know.
That's how humans work.
Okay,
This is your
people
argument.
have done this. People have done this since the beginning of time.
Grape.
You think that it's
Let me
an
just grape this person because that's how humans work. We grape. Is that would that be a good justification?
No, and that's a ridiculous argument.
This is your argument. That's why it's ridiculous.
That's
This
my
is your
argument. All right, bro, you're actually
This is
insane.
your argument, sir.
You're insane. My argument is that it's okay to grape people.
Your argument is that it's okay to do whatever you want if it's what humans do.
Graping people isn't what humans do just because
Yes,
some
it is.
bad
People do it all the time. That's what
Like,
humans
that's a fucking
do.
ridiculous argument, bro. Like, that's actually a ridiculous
That's
argument.
not a counter
You're
argument.
comparing
I'm
killing
sorry.
an animal to eat it to graping someone.
I'm not comparing the actions. I'm comparing your justification, which are the same in both circumstances. Your justification was, oh, that's just what humans do. How about
That's what
slavery?
like every human has done since the beginning of time.
Okay, so how about during the slave times when everybody had slaves? Would that
That's a
make it
human
okay?
right.
Because that's what humans do, have slaves?
No, because the slaves were humans too, and you shouldn't do that to other humans.
But that's not the point. The point is
That is the point.
point you're missing is that it's the same justification that you're using for the animals. Oh, everybody does it. It's normal. That doesn't make it good necessarily. Do you understand?
I understand that, but not everybody owns slaves. Not everybody grapes people.
Well, let's
Like,
just say everybody owned slaves back then. Would that make it okay to have a slave? If
at the
everybody
time, if that's what there was, then yes, you would think that that's okay.
from your perspective
My
today,
perspective of today, people don't own slaves. We've evolved past that, so that's a stupid comparison.
you have to listen carefully.
Everything is about perspective.
From your position today, if people back then, all people had slaves, would it make slavery okay? Yes
No,
or
like
no?
I said, we have evolved past that, and
Great.
that's
So,
not how
so
I
then
think
you would
anymore.
agree that just because everybody ate meat doesn't make it okay necessarily, right?
I don't necessarily agree with you because if you were raised in the 1800s if you say hypothetically everyone owned slaves, if everyone owned it, you wouldn't see it as a problem and you would do the same thing.
I understand that, sir, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you aren't necessarily correct. You have to be cautious before you appeal to this, majority.
Okay, let's say you're right and killing animals is bad. What's to stop people from doing that if the whole world does that?
This applies to every action. I can't stop people from graping. That doesn't make it permissible because I can't stop all grape.
But what is your plan? Do you want to turn everyone to a vegan?
If it was a perfect world, of course, but all I'm trying to do is convince you to stop killing and abusing others. I can't convince everybody.
I feel like just the way that it's such a part of my life and how much I enjoy it, like there's just like you can't make me not do it anymore.
I
know that's not a valid
understand. I understand.
I know
it's
that's
normal.
not a
Look, I
valid-
understand.
I know that's not a valid argument if you're comparing.
I understand. You think it's normal to kill and abuse animals. I did it all my life. I grew up this way. But the problem is I'm trying to show you that you might be wrong in your own view, right? Your own framework, it might be inconsistent. You might be going, wait a minute, maybe what I'm doing is wrong, right? If I just raise this to you. All right, well,
Hello?
yeah, I'll pass on that guy.
Hello?
How old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2006.
What month?
August 2nd.
What date was
What?
August 2nd?
What do you mean what day was August 2nd?
Was it a Monday?
It was... Hold on, let me see.
You don't remember your own damn birthday? You're
It
lying.
was...
Hello?
What's going on?
Hi. How old are you?
45.
All right. And what do you got?
I got a question. Long time listener and long time follower, just so you know. I've been listening and following you for quite some time. I got one question from you, if you don't mind. Your real stance on God is imaginary. Are you a atheist? And at the same time, are you a nihilist?
I'm an atheist in the sense that I don't believe in a God. And yes, I am a nihilist, but I'm an optimistic nihilist. I think that ultimately there is no meaning in any objective sense, but I still find a way to derive meaning from certain interactions optimistically.
Okay. So you don't see a little bit of when you start preaching morality about killing animals, you don't see the contradiction there?
Nope, I don't see a contradiction.
Well, when you're talking about being a nihilist, I mean, there is no morality ground. You don't have no base for morality. You can't speak on morality if you do not actively.
I do have a base for morality.
No, not if you're in that sense. You don't.
I do. It's called preferences, right? I prefer not to harm others. Therefore, it's wrong to do that to others. That's my ethical
choice you make, right? That's a choice you're making.
But that's still ethics.
We're not talking ethics right now.
I'm sorry, sir, but you brought this up, right? You supposed that I can't derive morality.
You can't.
And I just showed you how I did. I showed you that I derive morality from my preferences based on empathy and logic towards
So where does that empathy and logic come from then? Being a nihilist, you can't have empathy and you cannot have that. You can't be.
What do you mean, sir? These are empathy and logic are just processes of the brain.
Chemical reactions, right? That's what you're going to say?
Yes. What's wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with that, right? So,
okay, what is wrong with that?
If you're saying that everything is a basis of chemical response and, what did you say before? Everything is already predetermined, right? I believe you said that before. Actually, you said that quite a bit. If everything is predetermined, then, the choices you make don't really matter, do they?
They do. The choices we make, by the way, are pre-calculated in this deterministic framework, in the sense that it seems from my point of view that I have choices and I make choices freely, which is fine, but technically speaking, we don't. In mathematically speaking, everything is predetermined, but that has no bearing on how I behave. The fact of the matter is not relevant to how I behave about the circumstances I find myself within. again, I feel
Yeah,
like I
because it's
can
irrelevant,
choose,
right?
and therefore there's nothing wrong with choosing things that are illusory, right? Illusory choices.
Yeah, it's a choice, but at the same time, you're making a choice that doesn't matter. It has no
What do you
bearing.
mean
It
it
has
doesn't?
no
What do you mean it
effect.
doesn't matter,
It
sir?
does not
Everything
matter.
I do
In
has
that belief,
consequences.
no,
Hold
no,
on,
no.
sir. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
You're forgetting this point that everything I do has consequences.
Does it?
And that is true regardless if I have free will or not. So the entire point of this discussion is irrelevant. Your entire point is irrelevant because whether or not I have free will, there's still consequence to my actions that I do. Right?
But you don't believe in free will, so that doesn't matter.
What doesn't matter?
What you're saying right now does not matter.
In regards to what? Relative to what?
Free will,
it matters to
there's
me.
no morality, and everything is predetermined, and everything is a chemical response and an action. There is no choice. Free will has
There is
choice.
choice,
Morality
sir. There
has
is choice. There is
what
choice.
you are
It's
saying
just,
and what you believe,
sir, you have
is
to
literally
hold on.
contradicting
You
that.
have to wait, sir. You have to wait.
Okay.
I do have choice. I just explained this to you. There is choice. It's just not freely made choices. And for all intents and purposes, having this illusion of choice is perfectly fine. I just admit that this is illusory. It's an illusory experience, but it's still an experience of choice, and therefore it does matter. This experience, regardless if it's free, does matter to me.
It matters to you, but you, like you said, 100 years from now, it's not going to matter to anybody, is it?
That's irrelevant to me because it matters now, and that's all that matters to me.
Of course.
So regardless if we have an afterlife or we have no freedom, the things we do today still have consequences, and they still matter to us.
Just for my clarification, again, Mike, I have no disrespect. I actually respect you a lot. Okay, if you can't tell, I do. Define nihilist. What is it?
The notion that meaning is ultimately not a real thing. There's no fact of the matter about meaning.
There you go. You just said it.
Why is this relevant to anything that we were talking about?
Exactly. That's my point. The whole God is imaginary. The whole God is imaginary is irrelevant. That's irrelevant to you. It should be irrelevant. Like bringing up these conversations is irrelevant.
No, sir. Sir, you're forgetting something here. It's irrelevant from an objective sense, an objective perspective, right? Like according to the universe is indifferent. The universe doesn't care about what we do, but we care about what we do. So we are the ones who emanate the meaning, right? We are the ones through these interactions, through this series of choice, cause and effect. We are the ones who are enacting this meaning, and whether or not it's subjective is irrelevant to me because all that matters is what we do now, and how my actions affect others.
So subjectively, you're saying morality is objective.
No, morality is definitely not objective. It's subjective.
That's what I wanted you to say. All right, I just wanted to make that. I just wanted to be clear.
I don't think you quite understand why this isn't an objection.
No, I understand completely. I wanted to make sure I understood your point.
When I debate veganism, I'm not debating it from this position where it's objectively true that you must be vegan. I'm debating from a stance where it's like, if you agree with me, then you should be vegan. That's it. It doesn't matter about your meta-ethical view, your normative framework. It doesn't matter what your ethical view is. If you agree with me about this veganic principle, then you ought to be vegan. That's it.
Okay. Perfect. All right. I understand. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to have some time. I appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep.
It is good to talk about that though, sometimes, but we kind of just go through it because it's not relevant to these discussions in particular. Hello?
Oh, hello?
Hi, how old are you?
21.
Okay.
So One thing I want to understand is like, what is your views on like the dynamic between like predator and prey, just like in nature?
What are my views on it?
Yeah, like, do you think that like we should like take a stance to try to stop a tiger from killing a gazelle?
In a perfect situation where you have the ability to practically manage such a thing, then yes, I think we are obligated to reduce harm to the animals. But it's not practical today to do such a thing where we are kind of like the policemen of nature. It's not going to happen. But in a perfect world, if we had the technology and if we could make the outcomes beneficial for everybody, then of course we're obligated to reduce predation on animals.
So basically, like animals, like we're not holding them to some kind of moral standpoint because they lack a certain
They
degree
lack
of
the
intelligence.
option. They lack the option to do otherwise. We don't. We can do otherwise. So we're working within the means of which we can control, and that's what veganism means. And it means it means doing what you can with what you have, and doing what's practicable. In other words, doing what you can that can be sufficiently successful. And in regards to nature's predator and prey thing, we can't fix that. We can't practically help that. There are some circumstances where we can and we should, but to ask ordinary people who don't have that access to that would be ridiculous to put some obligation onto them to do that.
So what if there was a situation where someone it was more convenient for them and it was their only option to eat meat instead of adopting a vegan diet? Would it be morally just to engage in that?
If you have no other option but to consume animal products, of course you can eat animal products. That's still vegan. Because again, it's doing what you can with what you have. It's not about being perfect. It's not about not killing a single animal in any circumstance. It's about doing the best you can with what you have.
Okay. That's cool. I love you, Mike.
All right, let's get the next victim here.
Hello?
Hi, how old are you?
19.
How old are you? What year were you born?
2005.
Okay.
So I just want to know, why do you think God is imaginary?
There's no evidence.
Like what? What do you mean there's no evidence?
I don't see any evidence of God. Where is it?
Okay, well, one, I'd say the order and design of the cosmos point to an intelligent mind. Two, I've never seen non-life create life. I mean, have you ever seen non-life create life?
Every day, yes. It happens all the time in your body.
Like what? What non-life creates life?
Every time you consume food, is food living? Is a donut living?
No, but it was from something
okay.
you killed.
Okay, so when you consume a donut, that donut goes into your body, and your body consumes it. It goes down into your bloodstream. Your bloodstream takes it to your cells, and your cells use that donut as energy to sustain life in the process of life. So non-life,
your cells are alive, though.
Non-life can bring about the process of life, and that's the point. Now, in terms of starting from scratch and having simple molecules turn into living entities, well, that is also a possibility. And there's a whole idea about this called abiogenesis, where you get simple molecules like amino acids turn to larger chains of polypeptides, and those turn into sheets of amyloids, and those turn into even larger systems where they can perform some metabolism, perform autocatalysis, the early versions of life. But of course, we know life can come from non-life, because life is a process that non-life does.
No, I'm so confused on what you're saying. Like, how do you create life from non-life? Like, it just
What do
doesn't
you think?
make. I don't understand what you
Let's
mean.
make it simple for you. What do you think life is?
I don't know. Becoming part of a family, having a career,
Think
what you want to
scientific. Put
do.
your science cap on, right? Think scientifically. What is life biologically?
Being alive.
More specific, sir. Can you do more? Any more specific?
Not really.
Okay. Life is, according to scientific consensus, a process, a biological process of metabolism, replication. That's life. That's all you need to go from non-life to life. It's a process.
But that
And
but
the
that is
process
life
is
creating
governed.
non-life.
Hold on. The process of life is governed by electrochemistry and biochemistry. The laws of those fields of science that can, if you understand those processes, give rise to the particular life processes of metabolism, replication. All you need is certain types of molecules interacting in certain ways to get life. So again, yes, you can get life from non-life. It's a very common phenomenon on planet Earth.
Molecules are life, though. Like,
No,
everything
they're not.
there is has life in it.
Nope. Molecules are not alive.
Yes,
Even
they are.
DNA.
It has.
Even DNA is not alive. DNA is just
Well,
a
yeah, but
molecule,
that's
a long strand molecule of billions of nucleotides, billions of molecules stranded together. But that's not a living thing on its own, right? It's just a molecule. What makes you come alive is when that DNA interacts with other molecules. That
which is
electrochemical
alive.
process, that electrochemical reaction that gives rise to new beings, autocatalysis, right? That's life. And that's all we are. We're just elaborate systems of electrochemical processes happening in various ways.
Well, if that's the case, what's the point of life then? If we're just a random chemical being, like, what's the point of living life?
Why does it matter the medium in which we exist, whether it's chemicals or, let's say, God exists? Why does it matter more if we're made of spirit dust, whatever, right? Why does the medium in which we exist matter when it comes to meaning of life or the point of life? Because although we are just molecules in motion, well, these molecules in motion can do some pretty amazing things. They can do thoughts, they can do actions. I can move my hand, I can experience, regardless if we're just molecules in motion or not. So I can still find meaning in this life, regardless of the fact that it's just pure physics and pure physical stuff. I don't
Yeah,
need
but
God for
like,
meaning. I don't need God for that.
yeah, that's fine. But if we're just a bunch of random stuff all made up together, like, what's the point in living? Like,
To experience and to enjoy, to love, to
exactly,
live, to laugh, to learn, to
exactly.
explore. I don't need any of that with God. That could be all done from a purely atheistic view. I don't need God to have fun. I don't need God to learn. I don't need God for meaning at all.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it, but it's because of God that you're like that. Like, why would you?
Prove it. Demonstrate that. Demonstrate that.
Because He created us. He wanted
Okay,
us to be
just
like this.
look. Just as you say God did it, I can say, Snuffleupagus monster did it, or unicorns did it. That's why you're breathing, large fish, because the unicorns did it. Anybody can say this thing did it, but a toddler can do that. I want reasons, good reasons to think that your God did it and not nature.
Because He wanted us to experience things, to love things,
I don't mean reasons you made up out of your butt. I'm talking about good reasons. In other words, evidence, not just random, oh, he did it because he loves us. I want evidence-based reason.
Evidence to what?
Evidence towards your God.
I already told you. 1, the order and design of the cosmos. 2, I'd assume you think the Earth was created through Big Bang, right?
No, not right. So let's take it one by one. The order and design. So what do you think? What is orderly? Give an example of something orderly in the universe.
What do you mean? Like
Give an example of something orderly.
like the solar system.
Solar system. Okay. And how about? Do you understand that? So you're saying that order, the solar system's order, cannot come from chaos. Is that correct?
Not really. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, not really.
Okay. Well, it really does happen that way, right? This is called the nebular hypothesis. And what it does is explain how you go from a big dust cloud called a nebula cloud, and it collapses. It collapses because of gravity on its own. There's no God doing it. Gravity collapses the cloud. It turns into a disk because of certain angular momentum. It conserves this momentum over time, and it goes faster and faster. Heat and dust collects in the center. Star forms. Heat. That's what a star is. Lots of gas and heat. And fusion occurs. You have a star shining light. And planets are the result of those fragment of materials that get colder. They collide together. They clump together and turn to larger rocks and hence larger planets.
But you can't prove that.
That's in summary the nebular hypothesis, and we have lots of evidence for this.
Yeah, you have evidence, but not proof. You can't prove anything. You have evidence for that, but you don't have proof.
We don't have proof of anything. We don't need proof. We have tons of evidence.
Exactly. We have tons of evidence of a God.
Where? You just told me something. That you can't get order from chaos. And I showed you a possible natural way you can do that. And you're just going to say no?
Yeah. Well, it can obviously be, but that's...
Okay, so if it can be natural, if you can get order from chaos, then we have a natural explanation that's possible. At least possible. Now, your job is to show me that God is more likely. Can you do that?
Yeah, because Jesus Christ.
All right.
Talked about
day,
God.
Have a good day.
Hello, Brother Mike.
Hi.
All right. So, first question. I don't know about the whole atheist thing or your standpoints on that, but I've watched a lot of these debates, and I guess my first question would be all the evil in the world that I've seen most atheists try to pin on God or say that it's his fault or whatever. If he doesn't exist, then I guess who's at fault for all of this evilness that's in the world?
Well, in my view, there is no such thing as somebody being at fault other than nature. The laws of nature. But that doesn't make sense in my view to say that somebody's at fault in terms of nature. The point of saying that that your God's evil is something called an internal critique. We're critiquing your view of your God by saying that it's all good, but we can point to evil in the world, gratuitous evil. And that poses a problem for your God internally, right? My views are relevant here. And yeah, you can say, oh, without God, there's no morality. Okay, you can say that, but that's not relevant to the fact that your position is contradictory.
My point is contradictory.
Your position that God is all good seems unlikely, given the fact that there's so much gratuitous evil.
Let's back up. I'm not claiming that. I haven't claimed that, at least not yet.
Okay. So what is the problem with these things here?
I was just asking on that question. I was just asking your stance on that because that's a topic and a question I've seen a lot, especially in these type of debates. Is that if God is real, then it's more often that they try to pin all of these things on him. And I was just curious if he doesn't exist, then who is at fault for these types of things
Yeah,
that are going on?
you're. I think you're trying to imply that there's something wrong with an atheist perspective here. There's nothing wrong with an atheist perspective. You can draw up some kind of absurd reductio and say, well, under atheism, nobody's at fault. Okay, I'll gladly bite the bullet there, but that's irrelevant to the fact that God doesn't make sense. Your God doesn't make sense. Right. Thank you. Let's get the next victim, probably the last one.
Yo, hello.
How old are you?
20.
What year were you born?
2004.
What month?
February.
Okay.
I just want to talk about God. I just want to say I believe he's real because there's evidence to it.
Great.
More evidence than there being a Big Bang. There's people, there's documentaries, there's Jesus, there's people writing it down, there's people talking to God. All that's been written down.
Well, that's cute. Yeah, that's good that you've drawn up a story, but I want more than a story, right? Plenty of people have stories just like yours. The Muslims have stories, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Zoroastrians, all kinds of religions existed before yours. Yours is nothing new. I'm asking, how do you know that these stories are true?
I mean, it's written down. It's been passed on years later.
So is the Zoroastrian, the Vesta. That's a religious text that was passed down for centuries before Christianity.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think all this, the world, beauty, life, love, all came from a Big Bang?
Yeah, what do you think the Big Bang is?
I don't believe in it, so I don't know what it is.
That's your first problem, right? You can't critique something you don't even understand in the first place. But the Big Bang doesn't mean an explosion that exploded randomly and magically we all appeared like, magic one day. The Big Bang is talking about the expansion, the ongoing expansion of space and time, which is still happening today. We still see the universe expansion. In terms of our evolution, I agree with you, sir. Looking at it today, looking at the world around you today, it's so complicated. DNA, life, animals, Earth, stars, it's complicated, but if you trace back the origins of of the Earth, and you trace back the origins of life, we find there's a very lengthy but understandable process that precedes our existence in this state. If you go back far back enough in the cosmic records, you find that we existed back then just in a different form, just a different way. But over time, there was this cosmic evolution that gradually evolved into something like we are today. And after us, there will be another state of our existence.
So you believe in science, right?
It seems like there's a perfectly natural explanation for our current configuration.
So you believe in science, right?
And God's not required for any of it.
So you believe in science, right?
Science is not a belief. It's a method that I adhere to because it leads to reliable results.
But science also says something can't come from nothing. So how does a Big Bang happen?
First of all, science does not say anything. Right? Scientists say things. Science is simply a tool that we use to generate these answers. But there is no such law that says something cannot come from nothing. Nothing is a philosophical term that science does not deal with. And it's not even coherent to even mention the word nothing in the context of science.
Well, if something did, let's hypothetically say something that nothing is real.
What's nothing? You're skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead too quickly. You have to take a second to think about what you're really talking about. What does nothing really mean?
If the Big Bang did happen, that would mean, let's say a random apple appears in front of you. That just can't happen. Has it happened?
I agree, sir. But number one, that would be a black swan fallacy, first of all. Just because we have never seen an apple appear doesn't mean it can't happen. But yes, I agree with you that it would be unlikely that an apple would just appear. Your problem with using that as an argument is the fact that it's a straw man. It's a misrepresentation of the Big Bang. Again, I tried to explain to you the Big Bang. You didn't listen. It's not a random expansion that magically allowed us to be here like that, right? Again, the Big Bang is a phase the entire universe goes through, and there's lots of data on this, and there's lots of explanations about this. It's very complicated. You ought to learn the Big Bang. You ought to learn. You ought to learn science.
All over school.
The very things you're critiquing are the very things you don't understand, and that's why you have to learn before you come up here, because you're not doing too well.
A Big Bang made a Earth perfect for us humans to live on, to live, laugh, love, live peaceful. You think that just happens through a Big Bang?
I understand. Look, I understand your concern. You're saying the Earth is in a great state. We're able to breathe. We're able to get sunlight. It sounds great. It sounds perfect, right? The problem is that you're misunderstanding that there's the fuller context, that we weren't placed here by some, master puppet or puppeteer or some chess player. We were not placed here like pawns. It is more likely the case that we evolved with the evolution of the Earth. We evolved with the Earth. We didn't evolve separately and then we're plopped here. We adapted to the conditions. In other words, we adapted to the sunlight. We adapted to the water. We adapted to the environment such that we would survive today in sufficient amounts to continue on through natural selection. So that is the thing you're missing. You're missing the fuller context, which is incredibly important for your argument to hold any water here.
How does coming from water and evolutionizing get us to have thoughts, live a life, be happy, learn?
Great question. Fantastic question. How do we have thoughts? That's crazy. Well, it is crazy, but it's not impossible. And the reason why thoughts exist is likely because of billions of neurons in your brain. Your brain is a vast network of billions of neurons and trillions of synapses. These are the connections between our neurons. Neurons are cells in the brain that are capable of particular electrochemical processes that they can send, these are called action potentials. They can send action potentials through each other, and that's what thoughts are. Thoughts are those action potentials, that electricity flowing through your brain at trillions per second, billions per second. That's what thoughts are, and it's amazing. It's incredible, but it's understandable. So I understand from your perspective, everything seems so complicated, and you're right, it is complicated, but it's understandable such that we don't need God as an explanation like we did in the past, right? Our ancestors did the same thing with lightning. Oh, the gods are angry. Well, no, now we know lightning is just the product of electrostatic electricity flowing through clouds. The ions build up, they get attracted to the ground, the opposite attraction to the ground, the opposite charge to the ground, and bam, you get lightning bolts. It's very understandable, the world around us. And that's amazing.
Good night, bro.
All right, good night. And remember, keep learning. Read, learn science. Immerse yourself with science. Ask better questions. Ask yourself questions. The world is exciting. It's an exhilarating place to be in. Learn it. We're only here for 50, 60, 70 years. Make use of your life by learning about it, because it helps you and helps other people around you. You have to be made of wood to not want to learn about the world around you and not inquire further about the Big Bang and life and thoughts and all these things. You have to be ridiculous to not do that. You're missing so much. You're missing out on so much.